Yes, the fame. Let me just test this audio is working. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, what's happening? So we're on day 1 of Ramadan. I literally slept until 3 p.m. Just shows, eh? Just shows how much I was sleep deprived, how much I was needing that rest after staying up till silly o'clock, night after night after night. So welcome to this journey. I'm going to be documenting the process as I go through the month of Ramadan, reconnecting to the path of Islam, reconnecting to prayer, and also unshackling, unchaining myself from the grips of addiction and escapism. So I'm going to be fully honest with you on this channel. I'm going to do my best to be authentic and true, because that's what I love to do. And that's what I think will benefit you most, is someone that's not pretending to be all perfect and shiny, that's figured it all out, and someone that's not just talking about this stuff after they've made it through. Okay, so for the past week, I've been recording videos while still heavily in the addiction, while still smoking every day, Mary Jane, you know what I'm saying, whilst waking up, getting on the phone, jumping on Instagram, the Explore tab. Before I know it, I'm on it. I'm seeing hot girls. Before I know it, I've ejaculated. Literally. Does that sound like you? Am I the only one? I don't think so. Now, here's the madness. Here is the madness of the situation. Here's why it's taken me so long to start actually sharing on this level with you guys. I've been teaching yoga and meditation for the past 3 years now. But I can still be influenced by the dark hand. I can still be influenced to go down that path. I can still be influenced to indulge in escapism, in instant gratification. And I'm not sugarcoating this. Look, simple, coming, right? Wanking, ejaculating, watching porn, smoking marijuana. Mary Jane, baby. Yeah? Long nights with her. YouTube binging, sugar binging, just trying to fill this body with stuff, whether that be smoke or food or pictures of hot girls. Yeah? So Ramadan, let's get to the point of Ramadan. And let me share with you the truth of, where I've been in relation to all of these things I just mentioned there. These aren't things that plague my life so much. The smoking has been for the past 2.5 years. I'm going to put my hands up and say that. Now, I didn't get high for the first time until I was 20 years old. That was the first time. And one of my best friends handed me a bong. And, he said, rip that. And I had some. And it was my first time, and I remember I was coughing. And I got so high. It was my first time being intoxicated because I'd never drank alcohol during school. I'd go out to parties. Bro, man would be dancing, the most sober one in the room. And people are thinking, what is he on? What is he on? I just say, man's on life, baby. Man's on that water. You get me? You get me? And I'd have the best time. People thought I was drunk up. And so I didn't get intoxicated until the first time when I was 20. Oh, and by the way, these videos are going to be a bit longer. They're not going to be super edited. And so you're going to need a little bit more than a goldfish's attention span to stick through this entire one, okay? But I hope that you do, because you might get some real benefits from it. I'm going to share some things that could assist you on the journey. But more so, I ain't here to teach you. I'm not your guru. I am not a guru. I'm a man who's on his own path, trying to find balance, and who's committing to his self-mastery. And he has a lower nature and a higher nature. And that lower nature has been pulling him down for the past 2.5 years. And in fact, if I really reflect upon it, because I've been doing a lot of the deep inner work, what I come to realize is that these patterns, this being an addict, clutching, filling, escaping. This has been something I've done from a very, very young age, from a very early age. This is something I've done. And so before it was with weed, it would be with something else. Video games, yeah, PlayStation, Sega Mega Drive, Nintendo 64, whatever. Hooked on it. If it wasn't that, it was food. Hooked on it. Okay, I used to be chubby as a kid. I felt proper insecure about it. And so I've always been clutching to something. This isn't a new pattern, this is old. And so here's an interesting thing. When I got high that first time, when I was 20, for the first time, consciously, I experienced not giving a crap about what other people thought. Not caring what other people thought. Being able to say what I wanted to say, laugh how I wanted to laugh, have fun as I wanted to have fun, and not care about how other people were thinking of me. For the first time, in other words, I wasn't judging myself. Wow. Now this was when I was 20, so it was at the same time when I started meditation. And it just so happens that that is also a path to learn how to experience non-judgment. And so from that age of 20, I didn't have an addictive relationship with weed. Or what would happen is I'd sense myself clutching and clinging to it, and I'd say, yo, you've smoked 2 days in a row, you want to smoke a third day in a row? No, sir. No, sir. We ain't doing that. So I'd unchain and unshackle myself way before it could even get to that point. Years later, fast forward to when I'm 26, I didn't have that discipline to cut when I sensed that I was clutching. So on and off with the smoking for years and years and years, up until about the age of 26, when I started buying my own, rolling my own, smoking my own. And this has been, I'm disappointed. I gotta be honest. There is a disappointment that I feel there. 2.5 years, who would I have been? Who would I be today if I wasn't doing that? How much money have I spent in the past 2.5 years on instant gratification, on tobacco pouches, on skins, on the brown stuff? Do you get me? So, brown or green, whatever it is that you're on, just consider how long you've been doing it, how much money you've spent, how it might have cost you health, relationships, confidence. Because here's the thing, when I was dancing and I'd be the most sober one in the room, all my mates are out and getting drunk, this is during uni or sixth form, I had such confidence because I was showing, look, I can do this fine, just as I am. I can have a great time. It was when I started smoking more and getting intoxicated that way that I would then experience, oh, now I feel like I gotta smoke something in order to have fun. Now I feel like I gotta smoke something so I can be funny. So I can be funny. The entertainer. So when I say this has been in me a long time, the entertainer, before I ever smoked weed, before that ever happened, the entertainer. Wow, this guy was the class clown. So during school, I was seeking people's approval and I was addicted to their laughter. I was addicted to their approval, to their smiles, to their, good joke, Usmān, good joke. Do you get me? So this addiction has lived in me for a long time, caring so much about what other people think about me. Clutching onto their approval and judging myself, ultimately judging myself, feeling like I'm not good enough, okay, feeling like I'm unworthy, feeling like I'm not worthy unless I can make them laugh, unless I can put on a show, unless I'm the centre of the fun, unless whatever. And I would even experience that unworthiness after smoking, eventually. Because it was like, oh, you know better than this, you know that you don't need this, you know that. But I was still doing it. And so I'd feel a drop in confidence. Like, why did I just smoke that? Do you get me? So anyway, let's overview the past 2.5 years, which is the first time ever that it became daily and like regular. 2.5 years. I swear when it got to 1 year, I promised it would never be 2. And it got to 2 years. And it's just like, wow, there's got to be an intervention. There has to be an intervention. And so, in seeing my own weakness, that lower nature that says, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this for 2 years. There's no way I'm doing this for 2 years. I got to cut this. The lower nature then says, oh, but let's just do it anyway, and continues. So sorry if I confused you a little bit there. There's a higher nature within us. And that higher nature in me saying, we can't get, this ain't getting to 2 years, son. This ain't getting to 2 years. We ain't that guy. We ain't that guy. And the lower nature is the one that says, oh, let's just continue. Just continue. Forget about it. It'll be fine. It'll work itself out. Are you sure? Are you sure? It hasn't worked itself out. It didn't work itself out. And the money just keeps getting burnt. And the health just keeps on, staying at a certain point, never getting beyond a certain point. And the energy levels remain low. And the motivation in the morning remains low because of those late nights smoking and not getting the proper sleep. And then the relationships suffer because I feel like everyone else is boring because we're not doing anything. So let me just smoke. I'll come and visit your house and then I'll go and sit in your garden and I'll smoke. Come on. This isn't how I've wanted to live my life, but this is how I've been living my life. And so it's led me on a real journey of trying to discover why it is that we do the things that we know we shouldn't do. Why do we do the things that we don't want to do anymore, but we still do it? And I'm talking beyond a chemical addiction. Because yeah, that's a point in this. Yes, there's chemical compounds in there that are addictive. Same with refined sugar. Yeah. It's kind of what's happening with our dopamine when we're looking at those hot girls on Instagram. It's given us a chemical hit, and that chemical has an addictive nature, especially when it's received instantly like that at such intensity. The instant gratification. So it affects all different areas of life. It affects all different areas of life. I just lost my train of thought a little bit, so I'm going to just flow. If it affects all of our areas of life, then I became fascinated with this question of why am I still doing it then? If it's creating negative outcomes in all these different areas. So one of the first things I did was I wrote that down. I got clear on the areas of life that it is affecting and how. And I did a self-analysis, basically. I call it an honest self-service. This is something that I take my coaching clients through. And I'll be honest with you, I've told my coaching clients, my meditation students, that I've still been smoking. That I can still eat sugar in a clutching fashion. That I can still get pulled into that. And that the journey I've been on, that I started 10 years ago with yoga and meditation, was never, or it changed from this idealistic vision of being perfect and enlightened to being balanced, to not being too extreme. Okay, this became my goal, and so I've allowed myself to smoke, I've allowed myself to eat, I've allowed myself to do those things, and I've even told my students about that stuff because I'm not here to be perfect. I'm not here to say, hey, oh, I don't do this, and I don't do that, and I don't do that, and I don't do that, and now I'm better than you. No. So I've got new reasons not to do those things other than perfection. There's new reasons not to do those things. Like who I am and how I show up in the world and the example that I lead, the example that I want to lead, the example that is meant for me to lead. The potential that I have and the love that I have to do what I love, and the passion that I have to teach, but how wrong it feels to teach something that I'm not really fully practicing. Oh, this is a painful one. To teach something that I'm not fully practicing. So that's been one that's really beat my self-esteem over the past 2.5 years, I'll be honest with you. I felt so low. I got suicidal in 2019. I wanted to die. I wanted to quit teaching yoga. I wanted to quit teaching meditation. I thought, let's just get a normal job, like Mum always says. Let's just do it. Because I'm not good enough. If I'm not practicing everything I'm preaching, I'm not good enough. Who am I? I'm an imposter. I'm a fake. This is how it's been in my mind. And you've probably thought that yourself if you've been watching me and you know that I'm up to this stuff. You've probably judged. You might have judged. You might even be judging as I'm saying it right now. But too late. Too late. I've already judged myself more than you ever could. Okay? I've already beaten myself up more than you ever could. Because I do have that ideal of the higher nature. And I want to live in line with that man. That great man who's a provider, who's a protector, who's a creator. Who's a generous man. Who has a beautiful, loving family and he leads a good example. He doesn't run away from his emotions and feelings. He doesn't clutch to instant gratification, busting nuts on a daily and feeling like a zombie. Yeah? That higher nature ideal, I have that still. I have that still. And I acknowledge now that I've been living in line with the lower nature, and I've had to do that to understand the gravity of this. The gravity of this. We're living in a situation where we've got access to everything we want. Even if you're not rich, you can still be a stoner and you can still keep up with your addictions. As long as we can keep up with our addictions, we don't want to change. And this society is designed for us to just keep up our addictions. That's literally the design. We've got government support if you're not working, so you can have an income that you have to. There's very little accountability necessary. There's very little. You can just be on that for years. I've been on it for time. I'm getting off it now. That's another thing I've been ashamed to share, but you know, I started creating a business 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years ago. It's been tough doing this by myself, learning how to do it, starting from my bedroom, not having a clue, and having all of these limiting beliefs that says I need to know the answers, and I have to do it alone, and I can't accept help off anyone, and I don't want to let go of money because I don't want to fail or I don't want to waste. Guys, I've been in a battle, a chess game with myself as I've been creating this business, and it's been slow, but it has actually yielded some success. So I've had some signs to say, you know what, you can do this, man. You can do this, man. And this can actually take off. I've earned, sometimes in some months, I've earned more than a full-time 9-to-5 worker doing the business that I'm doing, which is helping people transform their lives through creating awareness first and then gradual change. And I've tried my best with those people to be fully honest and say, hey, listen, I still do X, Y, Z. But I've got all of these tools and all of this knowledge and all of this stuff that if you're willing to put to practice, if you're willing to put that stuff to practice and not just know it like I've done, then you'll experience the changes. And these people have said, yes, great, cool, fine. In fact, I feel safer with you because you're showing me and telling me that you're not perfect And so I can relate to you. And that surprises me. It still surprises me because I'm still scared to share things like I've been smoking every day for the past 2.5 years, getting high. It doesn't even get high anymore. I don't even get high no more. It's just is. Just is. Just a reason to sit down and breathe deeply. And maybe see my breath and watch YouTube. But I don't want to live that life no more. So intervention was necessary, and experiencing that lower nature to the gravity that I have has been very necessary, because I've come to understand that that lower nature is one tricky mofo. That lower nature, that little golem that lives inside of us that clutches to the ring, yeah, that sets up and dreams up these little perfect situations. Oh, when I get home, I'm going to have this and that. I'm going to set it up like this, and the light's going to be like that, and I'm going to watch that, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to smoke that. You know, it fantasizes. This fantasy clinger inside that lower nature is so insidious that the night before, you can be saying, I'm quitting in the morning. I'm not doing that again. I'm getting rid of that. I'm throwing that tobacco away. I'm getting rid of that. And in the morning, you'll not be thinking that way. You'll wake up and you'll start thinking, oh, go on, just one more day. This is how insidious it is. This is how tricky it is. So I've been trying to figure out, you know, how to outsmart and outwit this lower nature. And it has been arduous. I'll be honest with you. It has been arduous. But the point that it's led me to now, after all this time, and after getting to a point in addiction where meditation alone just wasn't enough, it's quite difficult for me to admit that. That's a hit to my ego. Meditation alone just isn't enough. Lifestyle matters. Choices matter. Motivation matters. What do you want? What is your dream? Why are you here? This matters. Your routines, they matter. Cooking and eating beautiful foods, this matters. It ain't just about meditating. It ain't just about meditating. Because, or more so, let me just say because, those times where I've wanted to smoke would be perfect for me to meditate at those times. But why haven't I been? Because that lower nature has been stronger. That lower nature has been stronger than the higher nature. It's been more dominant than the higher nature. And so even though my brain knows, yeah, I've been meditating 10 years, this would be the perfect time to meditate. But let's just not. But let's just not. Yeah, we know this is good for us, and we know that we could go and do that thing that's healthy, but let's just not. That's what I've been dealing with. Knowing better, but not acting better. Knowing better, but not acting better. And that has been peculiar. That has been insidious. Like I said, that's been super tricky. So it got to a point where it was so tricky that I said, you know what? I'm going to have to accept that I don't have the power to do this alone. Prayer has got to come back into my life. I've got to pray. And why did I remember prayer? Because there was a time when I was struggling with intrusive, obsessive, compulsive thinking. Homosexual thoughts. Guys, I'm going in there. I'm going to be vulnerable with you. I was having these thoughts. I just split up with this fine girlfriend that I had. From Liverpool. She was living in London. Beautiful. Everyone was saying, oh, she's stunning. This is what they say to me. But the relationship wasn't right. It didn't feel right. And when I ended it, I started to experience a lot of intrusive thinking, intrusive thoughts that something was wrong with me. Like, why can't I hold this relationship with the beautiful girl? Why have I just broken up with a beautiful girl like that, who's physically fine? Is something wrong with me? Am I going to turn gay? Am I gay? Is that what this is about? Is that why I've done that? Is that why? Because I'm going to turn gay? So I experienced these intrusive thoughts. From morning till night, it plagued my mind. What if I turn gay? What if I turn gay? What if I look at him and he's attractive? What if I look at him and he's attractive? What if I look at him and I get a boner? What if I... Do you get me? Intrusive, obsessive thinking. I haven't shared that on YouTube. Wow, I just realised I haven't shared that with you guys. And that happened years ago. I was like 22. 22? 24? 23? Something like that. What if I turn gay? Obsessed and so frightened by that possibility because I didn't want that. Deep down I knew I love women. I don't want to get penetrated by a guy, is what I was thinking. I don't want that. I understand though, if you're experiencing that it's not rational, you can't just rationalise and say, oh, well, I don't want that, and therefore that thought isn't true. No. There was something deeper. There was something deeper that was prompting that thought to keep coming up. Fear. Again, disapproval. Fear of disapproval. Because what I knew in my heart was if that was ever true, and it isn't, it turned out not to be, but if it was ever true, if, these are the most troublesome thoughts for many of us. What if, possibility, if, just if that happened. I knew that my mum, I remember her telling me when I was a kid, I'd disown you. You'd be gone. Do you get me? So that survival instinct jumps in and says, oh, we're going to be outcast. We're going to be exiled. We're going to get the ultimate disapproval of mother and father. We're going to, then no one's going to love us. No one's going to love me. This is what was deep rooted inside of that. Now, I couldn't solve it just with the understanding like this. Two things helped me heal that problem. And I'll speak more about that if you want a video on intrusive thoughts, homosexual intrusive thoughts, whatever it is. There's so many demons that I've faced, guys. And now I'm here to help you face those same ones. So prayer was what made all the difference. Prayer made all the difference. I meditated. I got okay at facing those thoughts. Yes, I started to develop a different relationship to them. I used mindfulness and meditation to help me deal with relating to those thoughts. It helped me to stop giving them so much attention and energy, which was crucial because the more energy I gave those thoughts, the more they tapped on my shoulder and the more they grew. So that really helped me. Getting into my body, having regular yoga practice or calisthenics workouts, that kept me in my body and gave me something to get up and do because the mornings were hardest. But ultimately, when I was walking around in daily life, those thoughts would still be affecting me. They would still be intruding, and so prayer became the answer. I started to flood my mind with all the prayers that I'd learned as a child. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. I didn't even understand the words, and I still don't understand word for word. But just pronouncing, reciting the words, the verses, the Quranic surahs, the prayers that I was familiar with from childhood, this allowed me to break the pattern of thought, those intrusive thoughts. I created environments inside of my mind that did not even allow space for those to arise. And I promise you, it made all the difference. I noticed that I was just in a thought habit. I was in a habit of thinking that thought and then getting afraid of it. And then, and I developed that habit. So I needed to break that habit. And how did I break that habit? Through prayer. So why am I telling you this? If you've had the attention span to watch until now, why am I telling you this? Because at 24, Islam and prayer was helping me take back my mental health and save myself from this inner bully, these intrusive thoughts. Okay? At 24. But here's the mad thing, is after that healed me, after I healed that way, my ego didn't want it to be that way because I was so interested and committed to meditation and yoga. And so I didn't tell anyone about prayer being a medicine for me. I wanted to kind of delete that part of the puzzle and say, oh, I just did it with mindfulness and meditation, which did help. The yoga did help. But it wasn't the whole picture. And so Allah forgive me, Most High forgive me, because I pretended that prayer didn't help me. I didn't want it to have helped me. I didn't want that to be true because I didn't want to come back to Islam. I didn't want to abandon the meditation, the yoga, this kind of new age, free living, mushroom life, hippie life. I didn't want to abandon that rainbow life. I wanted to stay in it as opposed to coming back to Islam. But then 4 years after that, I'm 28 and I find, you know what, it doesn't matter how much I meditate, it doesn't matter how much I do this stuff, or at least the way I've been doing it, morning routine, etc. When the desire arises, and I know that those tools like breathing, deep breathing, etc. will help me, I still choose not to do them, and I choose to do that thing instead, the instant gratification. And so that's shown me something beautiful, is that new age spirituality lacks that structure and that submission and that God figure to say, I am committed to this, and even if I don't want to do it, that's prayer time. So we pray on that time. Even if I don't want to do it, we pray. Because we're in worship. Because we become devotees. Okay? We devote to something greater than our own selves, our own structure, our own calendar, our own timetable. We obey a divine calendar. And if you're against religion, just get this, guys. This the beautiful thing is I've explored the yogic path, the Chinese medicine path, and the Islamic path now. And so I feel like I can relate to you on a whole new level. Or you might relate to me on a whole different level. Because I'm not saying there's just one way. In some cultures, they devote to a rhythm that is, and a timetable that's greater than theirs. And look, this is the beautiful thing. The sun rises at a certain time and sets at a certain time. It has a rhythm. Now I can choose to get up with that and follow that dance, or I can choose not to. And if I choose not to, what's going to happen? Most likely, disease, depletion, tiredness, fatigue, lack of motivation, addiction, depression, anxiety. If I become nocturnal on the night shifts, smoking up until the night, watching YouTube, going to bed at 3 in the morning, just so happens to be witching hour. That's the hour that I was going to bed every night, 3 a.m. Why? If I choose to do that, it's going to go one way. If I choose to obey the divine order, if I get up with the sun, go down with the sun, do you get me? If I obey this cycle, the chances that I'm thriving are so much higher. The flowers open with the sun, they close when the sun goes down. They thrive by jumping on board. So, similar kind of wisdom here. I'm not just devoting to the rhythm of the sun and the moon, because that wasn't enough to get me to devote. It's like, oh yeah, sun, oh yeah, moon, okay, whatever, night and day. But I still wasn't getting in line with that. It was only when I devoted and when I've said, you know what, I need something that's beyond me. A whole religion that so many people are following. So many people are following. Something that's got set times already. It's already there, 5 times a day. Yeah, there's your 5 prayers. There's your 5 meditations, if that's what you want to do. They're right there. And so I was struggling meditating outside of my morning routine, and when the cravings and stuff would come in, I would succumb to them because I didn't really have that structure. There's the point. There's the point. New Age spirituality lacks structure. I'm not the first person to say this. I'm sure Elliot Hulse said this as well. I'm sure Elliot said this too. Modern spirituality lacks structure, And that is a great detriment. For it is the structure that's given me back my freedom. And this aligns with the Chinese studies. The element of metal being the one that represents structure and discipline and time, routine. And so that structure of Islam, I'm starting to follow again. And in this month of Ramadan, there's the structure. Every year you get an opportunity to rid yourself of addictive habits if we do it properly. We don't have to be addicts. We have the opportunity given to us in Islam. Christianity has lent. But these things have been dumbed down. These things have been turned into easy mode. They've been made easier for us because we've become more and more addicts on average. And so in Ramadan, you might abstain from food and water, but you might still smoke after you've broke fast. You might still get high. This is very important, that we start to acknowledge Ramadan as an addiction reset protocol, not just some time where we have to fast because mum and dad's doing it or everyone else is doing it. It's an addiction reset, an addiction immunity protocol. How beautiful that this is in Islam. Every year with dopamine detoxing for 30 days in a row. It is recommended not just to go without food and water, but to pray 5 times, to read more Quran, to let go of the materialistic life and the things that we've been valuing so much, yeah? The expectations of other people, spending time with people doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing, cleaning up our whole lifestyle, and abstaining especially from those things we've been clutching to, that if we've applied awareness to ourselves through something like yoga meditation, we've got that self-awareness. We can say, man's been addicted to YouTube, man's been addicted to smoking, man's been addicted to sugar. I've been addicted to approval. I've been addicted to people pleasing. I've been addicted to certainty. I've been addicted to the screens. I've been distracting myself from sleep, avoiding it. Because maybe, well, not maybe, because I had some scary ass dreams and it's just like, I'm ready to have them again now though. Oh baby, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. There isn't anything inside of us that's too much for us to handle. Okay? So I'm getting back online, unshackling, unchaining myself to level up to Usmān's next level. I'm here, and I'm stepping up, and I'm choosing to submit myself to a structure beyond my own structure, my own timetable. This is one that keeps me in line. Well, at least, inshallah, it will. God willing, it will. This is day number 1 of Ramadan, and I've slept till 3 p.m. and I stayed in bed. Why did I stay in bed? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. If I'm not eating, if I'm not smoking, if I'm not consuming, and that's an issue. So I've been laying with that, and it's like, wow, okay, day 1 of the inner work for Usmān. Find something else to get up for, bro. Find something else to get up for. Oh, and it just so happens in Islam, there's the first prayer of the day. Get up early at sunrise and pray. It's so perfect. It's so beautiful. How didn't I see this before? I was emotional. I was rebellious. I didn't want it to be true, because if it was true, that meant that I had to accept my father's path. I had a resentment against him. And it was when I started healing the relationship to my father that I started warming again to the idea of Islam. So super blessed to be on this journey. Day 1 of Ramadan. It's after 4 p.m. I feel great. I woke up at 4 a.m. to eat. I felt awake because I'm motivated to do this. And if we choose to do this, trust me, it gets made easier for us. When we choose to do this, and we're not doing it just because we have to, then there's nothing to complain about. If we know why we're doing this, know your why. If you know your why, brother or sister, you know your why, then you know that those pains in the belly, That's healing, baby. That's healing, that's cleansing of the digestive system. That's normalization of the digestive system. This is good. Feels unpleasant, but this is good. Yeah? So I smile at it now. I feel it in my liver. I feel that nausea. Good. And breathe into it. Yeah? And same thing with any cravings that arise. Know your why. This is an addiction reset protocol. And here's the best thing. You're so not alone. But you're only alone if you pretend to be perfect. And if you isolate yourself, you don't share what's been going on. You don't share what you've been clutching to. This is the big challenge with the Islamic community and many religious communities. This is why I feel like I went away. It's because no one wanted to talk about the real stuff. You just want to pretend that there's no addiction in your family when it's right there. Just because you're a Muslim, Pakistani, Arabic, whatever it is, doesn't mean you haven't got addiction right there. Okay? So it's real. It's here with us all. The shaitan, the devil, can get into all of our heads, all of our hearts. It does not matter what image we present. So here's my invitation is let's get more vulnerable in the Islamic community, in the religious communities. Let's get more vulnerable. Let's start talking more about addiction. Let's bring it up. I want to bring it up. I want to bring it up. I'll speak. All you got to do is just tell me where and when. And I'll talk and I'll tell my story. And I'll say all the dark things that I've experienced inside of me. And the places that I've been and the things that I've done. Living naked on the beach with hippies. I loved it. It was amazing. It showed me something. Taught me many things. Yeah. So what are the skeletons in your closet that you're hiding from the Islamic community? I'm sure there's many. The religious community. From your family. It's not healthy. So let this be a place where we can share. How about that? I'd love that. I would love that. Let's get the skeletons out the closet. Let's create support for one another. This is day number 1 of Ramadan. I'm going to be here filming again tomorrow. Why? Because I'm not going to have anything else to do. Not going to have anything else to do. And just get this clear. Man is now combining yoga, meditation, and Islam, and Chinese medicine. And it's just like, wow. When we don't limit ourselves and say, this is the only way, this is the only way, we can be so much more. So, I wish you a beautiful day. If you're fasting today, continue on. Inshallah, all will be good. Freedom is close. Let's take it back for ourselves, all right? Let's live in line with that higher nature we know, believes, and wants more and better for us. And let's tame that lower nature instead of being chained by it. Let's get a leash on it, baby. Let's put it on a leash. We're sapping in lower nature. Yeah, I see you craving, but I know what you are. Yeah? So I hope this video was of some service. I hope it was. I want you to do something that you've been avoiding today. Okay? I'm going to check out with that. Much love from you. Strength. Yeah? Self-mastery. SLF. Strength. Love. Faith. Do the things that you're avoiding. Okay? Those are the things that matter most. Much love. Peace. Oh, by the way, if you're seeing this on YouTube, comment, subscribe, all of that business, and share it with a Muslim brother or someone that you think is going to benefit from this. Okay? A Muslim brother, sister in Ramadan that wants to fast, that's been struggling, that's been smoking, that's been addicted. We all know someone like that. Share this video to them. Subscribe if you liked it. You want to see more, click the notification bell. Support me in sharing all this vulnerable stuff. Peace out, much love, and that's it.